Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make some delicious cinnamon rolls. And if you guys have seen this recipe on my channel before, sorry in advance if you haven't, and sorry for those of you that watched it. I seem to have confused you guys when I was giving you my ingredients, but don't worry. All the ingredients you're going to need and the measurements are going to be in your description area now. And I'm excited to update this recipe for you, especially for the holidays, because this is an excellent recipe. It's perfect. It's delicious, and I made myself hungry, so let's get started on baking. First, we're going to go ahead and add our room temperature butter, okay? You want to start taking out your butter about an hour before you start making your cinnamon rolls. Then we're going to add our room temperature eggs. We're going to go ahead and mix these until they're combined and smooth, okay? Once you're done mixing your eggs and your butter, you're going to start adding your lukewarm milk slowly, okay? Gradually, I'm sorry. I know some people get upset with my choice of words, but I'm working on it. Once you've added your milk to your blend, you're going to go ahead and add your yeast. And if your milk was too hot when you poured it in here, this would not turn out so well. Just make sure that it's lukewarm. And also, if it's too hot, you're going to end up killing your yeast. So be careful with that. So once you add your yeast, you're going to mix it in here. Let me get my whisk. It works a lot better. So now we introduced our yeast. It's going to start working and waking up. So I'm just going to set this to the side for just a moment. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add our dry ingredients. We have our all-purpose flour. I'm going to be adding my salt, my sugar. And make sure you mix that well in here. All right, now that's set. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our flour slowly to our blend that we have this nice puddle of deliciousness. We're gonna start adding our flour a little bit at a time, okay? So just take your time when you're doing this step, just so that everything can get nice and hydrated and start getting happy together. Usually with cinnamon rolls, the difficult part is the wait. And if you kill your yeast, that's the difficult part too, but it's waiting. You know, you just gotta be really patient and take your time with them. If you guys have a big family, I hope you guys are making double batches, because the amount that I have set for you guys goes by real quick. And then it seems like after you have them nice and warm, you end up craving them again. So it's always best to do double batch. Okay, when you get to the part where it starts getting a little bit tough to mix with your spoon, that's when you want to add the rest of your flour blend that we have going on. And it's okay to stick your hand in here. Okay? It's a soft, super sticky dough. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move it over to my counter and start kneading it just for a little bit until everything's combined well together, okay? So be patient. Okay, friends. So what I'm gonna say, you just wanna knead it until it's combined well together. You don't wanna over knead it, kind of like tortillas. You don't wanna do that. Just a quick, until it gets saturated and well blended. That's all we're looking for. Once you're done combining your dough and you got a good, nice, soft, sticky dough like this, make it into a nice little ball. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in an oiled bowl, just like this. I have a warm washcloth I'm gonna be placing over this, and I'm gonna set it in my oven at 0 degrees, just so that it can begin that delicious rise for our cinnamon rolls. So I'll see you guys once this has doubled in size, and we can get started on our next step. Now we're getting ready for our filling, okay? You're gonna put your brown sugar and your cinnamon. I use 3.5 tablespoons of cinnamon because I really like that flavor, but if you're not too happy with cinnamon, you can skip it or you can add a little bit less. It's gonna be up to you, but I think the perfect combination is 3.5 tablespoons, okay? I always add a pinch of salt. And I'm very hands-on when I cook here, especially for my cinnamon rolls, so you can mix this with your whisk or with your hands. I think that with my hands it's always easier to break down the big clumps of sugar. Ooh, can you guys smell that? I can smell it, it's so good. Be careful because cinnamon is really fine, so if you inhale that, you're gonna be coughing for a minute. Once you've combined your cinnamon, sugar, salt, now this is going to be optional. This is a little bit insane, I know, because to blend the vanilla in the butter can be chaotic. But once I spread it on the dough, it kind of blends into the dough and it gives it that flavor that I'm looking for that vanilla. You can add it to the dough mix, but it definitely changes the color a little bit, and I like to keep it more traditional. It's like oil and water don't mix. That's kind of what you get from this, and people will be like, what are you doing? But it works for me. I'll show you guys in just a moment. Okay? My mom says in Spanish, cada maestrito tiene su librito. The literal translation is that every teacher has something written in their book. Something like that. I'm not good with translating, apparently. All right. So now that we have our filling ready, let's get ready to roll out. Okay, roll out. Yay! I ended up keeping my dough in the oven at 0 temperature for about an hour, and it doubled in size. Yes, I have mommy duties. It's okay. So 30 minutes to an hour, you should get it to double in size. And if it's not doubling in size, just give it a little bit more time and it will double in size. So we're going to go ahead and do the oddly satisfying and squish it down. So we're going to start rolling out our dough, okay? You guys see my little new puppy dog Raja down there? He's trying to find some crumbs. Okay, so just work and roll out your dough. It's a really easy dough to roll out. Sometimes when you lift it, you can kind of stretch it to how you want because it's a real easy dough to work. Depending on the time of the year that I make it, sometimes it's stickier and easier, and I find that when your house is warm, they come out a lot bigger and they rise a lot better. Or even in summertime, they do a lot better. Nice and fluffy. I can see the bubbles popping as I roll it. So nice. Good job, guys. We did good. Okay. One thing that kind of drives me nuts is perfect cinnamon rolls. Like, how can you get your cinnamon roll so perfect? Because I'm going to mess it up. You guys know when that soft, warm dough, oh goodness, it's just flaking off. Friends, I want to give a huge shout out to my niece. She's helping me to make sure that you guys don't get blurry angles. So shout out to her. She's a very shy one, but she's a lovely young lady and a woman that I admire. So thank you to her. Woohoo! So I usually stretch it out pretty long because the more you stretch it, the more you're rolling and the more swirls you get in your cinnamon roll. That's kind of what I go for. If your rolling method is me all over the place, then you're going to get some areas that are a lot thinner, some that are thicker. But for the most part, all this area right here is about the same size. And then this one, I think I stretched it out too much, but you're going to be okay. Don't worry. If you get your pinky nail, my thickest part is right above to where the nail ends. And then the smallest part is to where the nail actually ends right here. Where that little moon thing is. Can you guys see how thin it is on this side? Okay. And then my thickest side is right here. And I can flatten it real quick. Just gives me an extra swirly area. I don't hang out at the mall that often anymore. I don't think it's even cool to go to the mall, is it? But I remember seeing those cinnamon rolls at the mall and I'd be like, oh, I need like 20. So now we're gonna get our butter blend and we're gonna smear it all over our dough, okay? You see when you do that, the vanilla just blends into your dough. And that's how I make it comfortable for my home. Not really a rule breaker, just in my kitchen. How about that? You want to get it everywhere so that way that cinnamon sugar blend sticks to our butter. So now I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle this all over. Let me know what your favorite cinnamon rolls are in the comments. For me, it's the, I don't know, I'm in between the traditional and the pecan ones. Those are really, really good. But coming up for the holidays, I'm going to be doing a lot more apple cinnamon blends. Just makes the house smell really nice and taste delicious. Okay, so once you pour it all over your dough, you're going to come in and blend it and make sure you get it everywhere. Just like that. It's going to be a little messy. It's okay. You know, when you're putting the cinnamon on here, it just starts, you can see the color change when it absorbs into the butter. And you know you're going to be having some delicious cinnamon rolls in. All right, now it's going to be time for us to roll, okay? If you roll them from here to there, you're going to have some massive cinnamon rolls. I want more cinnamon rolls, so I'm going to roll them from this way, that way. But it's going to be up to you, okay? Make that first roll nice and tight. That's usually the one that pops up out of the middle when you make homemade cinnamon rolls. So I roll, and then pull a little bit, roll. I like to add a variety of textures in my cinnamon rolls. Like you get some thick, but as you get into the middle, you get that thin one that's just, ooh. You guys know what I'm talking about? So once you're done rolling, you can give it a good little pinch here so that you can seal it, because when you're cutting it, they have a way of unsnapping, so you can pinch it. Just gently. I'm going to start off by cutting the ends and setting them here to the side. Now I'm going to go halfway. Okay, now you have two. We're going to cut it halfway again. And I'll do it in segments so that you guys can see how I cut it. Okay, so I'm going to cut in half. And it's going to depend on the size you want. Nobody wants this one right here. You want it? I don't think so. So these are the smaller ones. So this way I get sizes for the adults that want the massive one, and then I get the small ones, okay? Before I forget, let me go ahead and coat this pan with the butter. I get too excited giving you guys the recipes, and you guys spotted that I get distracted. Well, friends, I guess a lot of you guys don't know that I do have ADHD. Not something I talk about often, but I think I'm doing okay. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and place our cinnamon rolls right inside our baking dish. And I'll continue with this one as well. So as you can see, I have a few. That's why I was mentioning to you guys. You guys want to do a double batch, which is holiday season. I do a double batch. Special occasions, double batch. And then you add your ends. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and let these rise again. It's going to be anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour. When you see in 30 minutes that if you like that rise in the size of them, then you can go ahead and put them in the oven. For me, I'm going to go ahead and let these rise for about 45 minutes. And I'm going to put a warm cloth over it, and I'm going to let them rise on their own before we put them in the oven. I'll show you guys in just a moment what they look like. It's been 45 minutes and I have an amazing rise out of these cinnamon rolls. Now we're going to go ahead and place them in the oven at 400 degrees, and you want to keep an eye on them at about 14 minutes because it's going to take anywhere from 14 to 18 minutes depending on your oven. Usually for me it works about 15-16, but I start peeking in there or turning my oven light on at 14 minutes. So I'll see you guys shortly when these are ready. While our cinnamon rolls are baking in the oven, we're gonna go ahead and get started on our frosting. I really love a cream cheese frosting for the cinnamon rolls, and so does my family. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. So you add your cream cheese, and make sure that your cream cheese, you leave it out for a little bit. It needs to be soft in order to achieve what we're looking for, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of my powdered sugar, my butter, and my vanilla. So what you guys are gonna see me do right now is I'm gonna go ahead and start mixing this, and once everything's combined well, I'm gonna start adding the powdered sugar slowly, kind of like you would with the flour, so that way we don't create too many lumps in here. Okay, all of our frosting is combined well. Now we're just waiting for our cinnamon rolls to be ready, and we're gonna smear all of this on top of them. It's gonna be great. Hang tight. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start adding my frosting to the top of these. And if you don't like the frosting, you don't have to. And with me, I notice that whenever I proof in the oven, I get them to bust out like that. And I kind of like that effect. Because my kids seem to be impressed. Like, ooh. And then they start picking which one they want to eat. When I take them out of the oven, I usually let them set for about 10 minutes before I start adding the frosting. But it's going to be up to you guys what you want to do, okay? Because if you put it right after you take it out, it kind of just melts on here. You can still see that mine are hot and melty. If you guys are wondering why they are called the Views famous cinnamon rolls, is because when you make these at home, you're going to be famous for making your cinnamon rolls, because not a lot of people want to make them. So it's a famous recipe because you're going to make them famous. And to be honest, this is a really good recipe. I've tweaked a lot of ingredients and I've been working on it for a while, so it's a good flavorful recipe and it works every single time. See, Raja agrees. All right, friends, we're all set. Then that's how you make some delicious cinnamon rolls. Yeah, I didn't taste the sloppy joe and a few things, but I'm gonna taste this. It's nice and soft. Yes. You guys, that frosting is amazing. I'm going to tell you, I don't want to be biased, but I'm going to tell you why I love my cinnamon rolls. Because they're not overly sweet. They're not overly yeasty. And they're just delicious. You guys have to try this. The part that's a pain for cinnamon rolls is the weight. Because the baking and the making them is super easy. You guys got this. So there you have it. Some delicious homemade cinnamon rolls. Friends, if you tried this recipe, please come back and let me know what you thought. My family absolutely loves this recipe, and I hope that this recipe makes you as famous as it has me and my home for making some delicious cinnamon rolls. On that one, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye! Adios!